I am okay. I am safe. I am loved. That's how I start my mornings. And it's 6:30 in the morning here in beautiful sunny Queensland, Australia. Wherever you're joining us from, welcome. I'm Lynnie Stein. I'm the creator of the Gut Academy, where we give you the tools that you need to start getting the results you want. Today we're sharing kimchi making. It's something that I've borrowed, just like that little mantra. That little mantra, I think I owe that one to Mary Kate. And it's wonderful, because it's wonderful in these times, we've all had a lot to cope with. And if you find it's hard to ground, do that. And it has many benefits. You can do it with your inside voice. If you're out and you're just feeling that you're a little bit edgy, just remember that. I am okay. I am safe. I am loved. Oh, gets you a little bit teary. But ground yourself back, Lee. It also, by pressing into your heart, it works that vagus muscle. That's the muscle that we spoke about when we were sharing fire cider, the wonderful master tonic. The right way of taking the fire cider was to hold it under your tongue and to gargle away. And that gargling, I said at the time, it helps that vagus nerve. It takes it all the way down. That vagus nerve goes right down to our digestion. And we need to be working it many times a day. That's why gargling really helps it. Pressing that heart really helps it. Singing's wonderful. And so is humming if you don't like to sing. So you can just break out into a hum a couple of times a day, a real deep one, so it works, it's all the way down. I'm just talking here while people are coming on board. I don't want to start until we're all here and ready to go. It's wonderful for you to join me in our kimchi making. With kimchi, there's many varieties, over like 200. And I've borrowed this, like I borrowed that mantra from Mary Kate. I borrowed this from my Korean exchange student Khiam's mum. I was very blessed to have her stay with me for a few weeks while he was graduating. And she shared so much with me. The big royal feast and how all the foods, the colours, and how you use all the different colours, and there's colours for longevity. Oh, it was just beautiful. And I'm going to share with you today a very easy, simple kimchi. It's what she would call watery radish kimchi. And it can be made so quick. On my website, linniestein.com, I have 200 ways. There's an article there that's free and you can even download it so you can come back later and you can view it at your own pleasure and you can put it onto any of your devices. There's no email sign-ups or anything involved. If you go to the linniestein.com, and the easiest way to get there is just go to where the About page is, and I've got the freebie, the link right at the bottom, and you can just click right on it, and there's many resources there. Not just fermenting, there's a lot of different resources, and if you find some of them useful, there's years of work, and I love to share. So let's share watery kimchi, watery radish kimchi. So what should you be going to buy? Well, first of all, you need to have the base, the cabbage. So in this case, it's like the Chinese cabbage, the Asian cabbage, or in Australia, we fondly call it a wombok. Very hard to get in our country at the moment because we're going into our summer, and in the hot weather, they just don't have the supply. I had them growing in my garden, and what I do with the kimchi that I love is like one of the really traditional kimchis of doing it leaf by leaf, and you actually keep this whole, and it's a very longer process, and it's great if you do it in a group because you have to spread the paste. The paste works like a binder, and you spread it leaf by leaf, and then you roll it up with like carrot and the white radish that we're going to use, and shallots, and the paste has all the garlic and chilies, and it's just beautiful, and you have them in like little rolls, and that's really, really wonderful. But yeah, today it's a quickie version, so it's not tedious as that is. So first of all, we need one of these, or just a half if you're doing like a litre jar. What we're doing today, we've just used the half of the wombok. you'll need the white radish. So that's, if you're not familiar with the white radish, that's the white radish. Oh, he doesn't want to come out. I've stuffed him into the big crop. I'll pull him all out. There he is, because you've got to see him if you're not familiar with what it is. So we call this a Daikon. It has many different names around the place. So that's our white radish. Then we'll need some onions, so you could use like a sliced leek or just some shallots. That's the shallots, and you're going to use the green part as well, so just a couple of those. A piece of ginger, just a piece of ginger, and some fruit, and that's it. That's all that you need. You can have some optional chili, and we'll talk about that when we go to make it. So a nashi pear, an Asian pear, that's beautiful in there. What I'm putting in there today, I'm putting a peach. Now this peach, I bought it at the organic shop because it was the first of the seasons coming out, and it's Christmas time coming, and that's when we start to see our peaches. But it was so tart, and I thought perfect to go in there because it wasn't perfect for the tongue. So that's what I'm putting in there. So if you do put a peach or something like that, don't put an overripe one. So this is how that one comes in. And I've also got some of the nashi pear there. So that's good. And you could use like an apple. Like an apple would be really good as well if you don't have access to, like, say, the nashi pear. There's always something you can put in. A persimmon's really nice. And like with if you can't get the white radish, well, replace it with something like a beet, and you'll have a beautiful red for Christmas. So there's always things, but don't over put your products in. That's the big thing with it. People just put too much in them, and you don't get that end result, that lovely flavour that just evolves. So I hope we're all here. We're ready to go. So what we've done, we've shredded. We haven't left them whole. These ones have been shredded, so they've just been shredded, and along with the white radish. Now those ones I've used a little star cookie cutter because I'm putting my little festive touch in there. So there's little stars that'll come out, little stars. So that's in there. Now we salt as we chop. We salt. We just finely salt it as we go and put that into a bowl. That way, if you're just finely salting it, it's getting an even distribution. It's all throughout that cabbage, and you don't need a lot of salt. So you're not actually adding the salt like by the tablespoonful. So it's just like one little dash, so there's enough that just completely covers it. Now this is a very soft leaf. Being a soft leaf, it will draw. And salt's job, it has many jobs. It sort of stops bad bacteria from coming in the first place, but it also sucks. You know, salt sucks, and this really sucks. So what we're sucking is we're sucking out moisture. And that's what we want, because we want that moisture to cover it. So if you can leave it sit, I've let this sit overnight, and that salt has sucked out enough moisture without me having to add water, and that will give you a better flavour. If you don't have that time to leave it for at least 30 minutes if you can, and it'll draw out a little bit of water, and you'll probably have to add a little bit of extra clean water. But if you can leave it for at least 12 hours to 24 hours, you'll find you'll have enough water there that you don't have to actually add water. This salt that I use is the fine pink Himalayan salt, and it has kelp in there. So that's the little black part in there. So that's all that I've put on there. If you are just using a table salt, do not use an iodized salt. We don't want to put chemicals in there, and it will prevent fermentation from happening in any of your ferments. So here we go. So you can see it's got plenty of liquid. And that's just done that all itself. So there's no need. It's just completely covered with liquid. So there's no need to add any extra water. And so then we're going to add that leek, and I've put leek and shallot in there, plus the greens. It's already got that white radish in there, so that's good to leave that in there because it's softened it all up and gone right through. So there we've got the leek and the shallot, including the green parts. I'm going to put a few little garlic tops in there because I've just got those from out in my garden, but that's not necessary. There we go. Now we'll put the ginger. So the ginger's been finely diced. I'm going to put a little bit of turmeric. That's come out of my garden too. Just give that a little mix. No need to pull it up like what I'm doing. I'm just doing that to show you that it's all that lovely liquid. And now the fruit. So in will go my unripe peach, which will come out a beautiful flavour, and my nashi. And the nashi, of course, is the Asian pear. It's only a little tiny one. And I only used half the peach because I've already used the other half in something I was cooking last night in a curry. So that's it. That's how simple it is. Now, it's very optional to add chilli. I always like to add my own chilli paste. You can go and buy these chilli paste, you know, the gotcha jam that you see in the shops. Just be very wary of them, especially if you are celiac, because they don't just have, a lot of them don't just have the rice paste, which is the traditional, which this one has. They do put some wheat in there. They just fill it up with wheat as well. So I don't like to use purchase chili powders, but it's up to chili paste, I should say. You can buy it as a chili powder, and you can just sprinkle that through, which is nice. But this is the traditional Korean way of making your kimchi chili paste. So I just like to add that in, but it's nice without it. So if you're in an area and you can't get chili paste, you can't make chili paste, just leave it out. It's not a problem, and I should have gloves because I'm going to put them into chili, but that's okay, I forgot my gloves. Whew. So we'll mix all that through and we're finished. How quick was that? Gee, we were sitting here spreading paste leaf by leaf. Oh, gee, that smells beautiful. It's a beautiful paste, that. Now, when you've left that in that first stage, when you've done that with the salt, traditionally making the water radish kimchi is that they do put a little sprinkle of an unrefined sugar, like something like rapadura. They do put that through it. I don't do that because I've already got some in my paste. And once again, it's totally not called for, but you could do it if you want to put a little bit of sugar through with your salt. So there we go. Look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? Oh, that beautiful smell. Now, we'll put that into a litre jar. And we'll press that down. We'll get something that we can press it down. Your fist is probably the best presser that you can use. Just a fist. See, this is when your humming comes in. You go, Okay. You do two jobs. Oh, that chili's hurt my little cut there, my garden hands. So that gets pressed right in. So you don't leave any air pockets, is the idea of pressing it right in. And you leave some space. You always leave a good space at the top of your jar so that it gives those carbon dioxide that's going to, which is in other words bubbles, that's going to happen in there. So you need to give it space so that it can expand without bubbling over. It won't blow up, not when you're going to set it up right, but it'll certainly bubble over. But you can put like a little saucer underneath it if you do get any overflow. And then we need to put a weight. I did have a weight here. I'm using a food grade glass weight, but one of the good things you could use is just the bottom of your cabbage, nice clean one, and you could press that in there and that would work as well. But I'll just use that. So make sure that's covered, so it's covered in its liquid. Close it. Don't open it again until it's ready to go. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. See how easy that was? So then that just goes away in an area that's you don't want sunlight getting on it or UV light. So get a nice little closet and have a nice little saucer underneath and cover it with a nice dark cotton tea towel. Just loosely cover it so it keeps out all the light. And there you go. Now time-wise, this will actually, because it's a softer leaf cabbage than see that's a very soft leaf cabbage, it's going to ferment a lot faster than our traditional drumhead cabbages that we use for like in sauerkraut making. So it'll be quick. So fermentation time, you can check it at 2 days and see how you can have a look to see if this has all gone really limp. And the thing when you taste it, you don't want to taste individual taste. You don't want to still be able to taste, like if the chili's in there, you don't still want to be able to taste spice. You don't still want to be able to taste the radish. You want it to make sure that it's all blended together, and then you know it's right. Now it's going to depend on your temperature. So in summer climates, I'd say anywhere between 3 to 5 days. In a cooler weather, up to a week, and then try it. But like I said, you can try it 2 days because our taste buds are all different. But do remember that little trick that I was taught from Khiam's mum, is to make sure that the tastes have all blended together, that you don't have those individual tastes that still come when you open it up and taste it. Then it goes into the refrigerator. Really, in her words and in her grandma's words, where she learned it from, is that it should sit in the refrigerator for 2 weeks at least before you go to eat it. You can eat it straight away. She said her grandma always called it crazy kimchi time because it was still finishing off. It was doing the most important part. And you don't want to eat it at crazy kimchi time. So I always leave mine in the, so this is why we're making them now. We're getting ready for the festive season, for the festive lunch. So the longer you can leave it just sitting in that fridge and letting the flavours evolve, the nicer it's going to taste when you serve it to yourself and your family and your guests. There's a lot that you can do with kimchi, and do go have a look at that file because it's got so many things for serving. If you're doing a big cocktail platter and you have oysters, for instance, where you put Tabasco and lime onto top of a oyster. Well, the very best thing is to use some kimchi. It is just divine. You just put that in with your little oyster shell and put your oyster in and it's just finished for you. It looks so pretty and it tastes so beautiful, especially the one with the chili in there because that replaces like when you use your Tabasco. You can take a big scoop of it and put it through your juicer, put some tomatoes through there and some nice little herbs and you've got a beautiful Bloody Mary. There's just so much that you can serve, the way that you can serve it. It's beautiful as a topper. It's absolutely beautiful for Christmas breakfast. So where you serve your eggs, that's your perfect topper. You only need small amounts of it. It is so wonderful. With the chili paste, when you make the paste, with the bitter melon is a very important food because we don't get a lot of bitter foods. We don't get a lot of bitter and sour foods into our diet. So this is a very important food. It's just small amounts. So the bitter melon, you can ferment that just in your chili paste. And that is beautiful. And again, you only need the same way to serve it, just little tiny bits. And it's wonderful. Bitter melon, even by itself, has been researched that it's just so wonderful for anyone with sugar problems. So sugar diabetes, this is just a master food. So when you put it in with your chili paste, it's even better master food. When you ferment it, it just takes it to another level. This month is November, and speaking of diabetes, it's Sugar Diabetes Awareness Month. It's also all the IBS Awareness Month. They seem to come together. And that's things like Crohn's, the autoimmune diseases. In our gut check, if you're not familiar with our gut check, every third weekend of the month, we do a pillar. The pillar for November is to take that conversation a little bit further on the sugar diabetes and the autoimmune problems. I have Stein's diet. It's not a diet as such because it's done for you. And that's what we're going to implement over that weekend. And it's not just there to help with those autoimmune problems. Well, it is there for the autoimmune problems. It's not just for what your body will show up. It's those flares, those flares that you get. So it'll relieve all the pressures of that. So that's what we're doing. It's $7 a month and you can stay for as long as you like. There's no length that you have to stay. You can come for 1 month, you can come for 2, you can come for more. and each month we have a different pillar and you get all the resources. Anyone that's bought any of my programs, you don't pay the $7, you get it for free, you get lifetime access. So anyone watching you think, oh, do I have to pay another $7? No, you just automatically come in there. So that's it. Love. Remember to press that hard and have plenty of bacteria.